Good morning, Harrison. This is Mrs. Duncan. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for our peace pledge. I am a peacemaker. I pledge to recognize the good people do to make positive choices and help others to do the same. I will build peace at school, at home, and in my community every day.
What's going on, Mike? How you doing, guys? You can start the slide in 3, 2, 1. How you guys doing? My name is Ryan Gillette, born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. Single father of a son named Isaiah, and I have another son. I just got married, by the way. To start the story where I came from, born and raised 120th in St. Clair, had some big dreams. I love to play basketball, and basketball got me to get an education in Notre Dame College of Ohio. But the story is a lot more, longer than that. When I went to Notre Dame, I had dreams of going to the NBA, and I probably will be in the NBA, but I don't play any defense. So that's probably the reason why I'm not in the NBA. Shot the ball very well, but I'm not going to play defense on anybody. So I had to come up with a plan B. My plan B was I wanted to be on the radio, or I wanted to be like on TV or something. And I also wanted to be a billionaire. Don't know how I was going to be a billionaire, but I just wanted to be a billionaire some way, somehow. I was going to get some money and become a billionaire. So one day, talking to my guidance counselor, I told her, the things that I wanted to do. She said, well, maybe you need to look into broadcasting or something. But while you're here, look into communications if that's what you want to do. So my first major was a communications major. So next thing is I was in a math class, and math is like one of my favorite subjects. I was just very good at it. Not good at a lot of them, but math is something I was pretty good at. So while I was in my math class, I would always be the one raising my hands, asking questions, things like that. My teacher, grew fond of me, and he pulled me to the side one time and just said, hey, so I see you're good at math. You're really good at it. He was like, what do you want to do? And I told him exactly what I told my guidance counselor. I want to be on TV or radio, or, what I want to, and somehow I'm going to be a billionaire, He was like, well, I don't want to bust your bubble, but if you work for radio or TV, you will not make any money. They don't make money. It looks good, but they're broke. And I was like, well, what we're going to do is switch up this, major to something else. I was like, so what do you think? He was like, well, maybe, you should go into business. Guys like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and, named a couple other billionaires. He was like, they're all businessmen. So, what about business administration? I said, all right, well, that's what I'll do. So I switched my major to business administration. Graduated. While I graduated, I had an internship at this school. I mean, not at this school, but an internship at Walgreens. If you ever been to Walgreens, you will know when you go there, look at all of the little signs, all of the little prices. That is what I had to do every Wednesday. Get up in the morning, and I had to fill up totes with different products and put those little stickers on every Wednesday throughout the whole store. And it was just a job that I hated. Like, I was like, I'm not about to do this. This is not the chase to being a billionaire, I'm not about to do this. So then my next thing I went to was Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Now, when I was at Enterprise, it was a place where, you rent cars and you think that's the gist of it. But in order to excel at Enterprise, you have to sell. That's if you come and get a car, you want a full-size car, I'm going to sell you into a luxury car. If you don't want insurance, I'm going to find a way to make you buy insurance. It taught you how to sell your butt off and, you know, learn how to take no's, learn how to redirect questions, and it just built my confidence up that I can talk to anybody. So the next job I tried was a detention center, which was a job where it was very, very easy because all I had to do was watch some bad kids, and it was, you know, it was easy. Like, we would play tunk and you know, in basketball, and it was a very easy job. But I started to pay attention to see that I'm not doing anything that I went to school for. All of my dreams of being a billionaire, businessman, whatever it is out the window because now there's no room of growth. Luckily, I got laid off. And it sounds crazy, but I'm going to say luckily I got laid off. A lot of the stuff that was going on when stuff was corrupt, like the Frank Russo stuff that happened, I got laid off. And when I got laid off, I came across my friend who had some turntables. And during the whole time, I loved music. I wanted to always learn how to scratch. All I wanted to do was learn how to scratch as a DJ. So I would go over his house all the time and just try to practice scratching. One night he said, "Hey, man, I can't do my gig. Do you want to do it for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, you get paid for it?" He was like, "Yeah, Mike, I want to do it." So I went there, played the music, got paid. It was a good time. I had a great time, and I got paid. I couldn't believe as a DJ, this is what's happening. I didn't know this is what's going on. So I was still looking for a job, could not find one. I started to see that the money I was making through DJing, I was still making the same amount of money. So I'm like, well, look, I'm not about to keep looking for a job and keep getting turned down. I'm going to do everything I learned at Enterprise, everything I learned in college about networking, everything I learned in my previous jobs, everything I learned in college, I just applied to me and my DJ brand. And next thing you know, I started DJing everywhere, DJing for the radio, became the official DJ of the Cleveland Browns. And, you know, being able to take this platform and do amazing things. I say all that to say I didn't choose to DJ and chose me. My friends call me Ryan Gillette, but the world calls me DJ Ryan Wolfe. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Russ Sinkewich from the Ohio Hockey Project. I am a professional hockey coach. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Just like you guys, I'm a Lakewood kid through and through. I actually live right down the street from you guys, but I'm very, very lucky. I'm 34 years old, and I'm actually on my second dream job. So what I do with the Ohio Hockey Project, it's an organization I started, and all we do is just coach kids that play hockey all around Northeast Ohio, from every level, from kids that are very new to the sport, that have never played before, to players that play at a pro level and college level, and so everything in between. You know, why I started the Hockey Project is just like a lot of hockey players in the area and a lot of you guys that are probably watching this video. I'm from here, and I love the sport more than anything I ever did in my whole life. And I thought, what a great opportunity this could be to make a job for myself where all I do is I play hockey for a living. And I teach kids to love the sport as much as I do and hopefully reach their goals in the sport. And like any sport, and obviously hockey's my expertise, but think of any sport that a lot of us play. And there's so many great lessons that you can learn about leadership and accountability and work ethic and being on a team, that some qualities that I just thought were so important that hockey taught me, that I wanted to try to help kids learn and really teach. And so let me kind of pause there and let me tell you a little bit more about myself. So when I say my second dream job, my first dream job is I got to play pro hockey for 7 years. I went to St. Edward High School right down the road, and after St. Ed's, I played college hockey at Bowling Green, and I played 7 years in a league called the American Hockey League, the AHL. So what that is the Cleveland Monsters downtown. I played for them for 2 different seasons, and everywhere. And you know, it was a childhood dream of mine to play hockey at the highest level I could. And I'm very, very fortunate that I was able to do that. And it was really through that whole career that really kind of cemented my passion, not only for the sport, but it gave me time to think like, wow, like I really want to do this for the rest of my life. And as a lot of players and young athletes know, you know, you can't really play a sport necessarily forever, or at least compete at a high level forever. But what you can do forever is you could teach the next generation. And that for me is when I was playing, that's when the light bulb went off that, wow, hey, you know what? I want to take my passion for this sport and everything that goes into it. And I want to teach the next generation of Cleveland hockey players how to love the sport and really excel at it, and hopefully do better than I ever could, or our coaches ever could. My first dream job playing, I saw a few questions that came in about, where did you get to travel? What was the coolest thing about that? It was a really, really cool opportunity because it took me around the world. When I played in the AHL, I was literally from Portland, Maine to Atlanta to Texas to Nebraska and California and Vancouver and Alaska. I got to live in a lot of those cities, which was really, really cool. And what was so special about that, it was kind of always like a temporary thing because I knew I was always coming back home. But in the short term, my work took me to Austin, Texas, or Vancouver, or Portland, Maine, or Anchorage, Alaska, these beautiful cities all around the world and the country that I would have never thought I'd go to. And hockey took me to it. And like I said, that was the first dream job, which really segued into what I do now for hopefully my forever job, which is being the head coach and founder of the Ohio Hockey Project. I saw some really great questions that came in where, did you have to go to school to do this dream job? And for any of my athletes or any people that love sports, if you want to coach, you don't have to necessarily go to college for it. I went to college. If you have the opportunity, I think it's such an unbelievable experience. You meet great friends and you learn a ton. And because of that, I went to school for sport management with a minor in business entrepreneurship, which is, at the time, I didn't really think much of it, but now I fast forward to where I'm at with our organization and in my professional career. And I went to school exactly for what I do on a day-to-day basis, which was really, really good. Some of my favorite subjects when I was in school is I used to love history. I love science. Environmental science was actually I wish I just only did environmental science. In a perfect world, I probably would have had a job maybe working for the Metro Parks or National Park because I just love the woods and nature and animals and all that stuff. But it's funny because the subjects that I didn't love the most are the ones that I actually need to learn the most now as an adult with my organization, which was like finance and accounting. And really, they're just really fancy maths is what they were. And math for me was always a really tough subject. School was very important to me and my family and I. And, I was always like a B or an A student, but math was always the one subject that I always had to see a tutor, and I had to really, really try extra hard in and get the extra credit and get tutor time and stuff because I struggled in it a little bit. But it's like anything, the things that sometimes you're not the best in, you just got to really apply yourself and you take a weakness and you make it a strength because you practice it so much. And that's for sports, that's for school. It could be anything you put your mind to. If you're not great at it, if you just practice it over time, you will become great at it. And for me, that's what math was. Another great question someone said was, did you always know you wanted to do this? And the answer is yes. I always knew that hockey was going to be in my life. For anybody, you find your passions in life, whatever they are, and you take a second to think about that. And, for me, like I said, my biggest passion was hockey and like physical training and the conditioning that goes into being a high level athlete and the sport itself. So for me, I was like, you know what? Hockey is literally, I love it more than anything else I can think of doing. This is all I want to do. So I knew from a very young age that hockey was going to be in my life. I would have never thought that I would have eventually started my own organization as a startup company. And for me, I saw a really big situation in Cleveland hockey that something like the Ohio Hockey Project didn't exist. We don't do teams. We're very, very neutral. We work with every city or try to work with every city we can, and our organization in the city we can, and any player that wants to come and train with us. And I thought, wow, what a great opportunity to look at the community first and help really Northeast Ohio. And like I said, hockey is all I know and all I love, and I wanted to do it forever. And here I am, 34 years old, and the organization's 10 years old, going into our 10th summer now, actually. So, it's kind of been like a lifelong passion and career for me, and it's something that I hope to do really forever, as long as people want to keep playing hockey with us. So what is a typical day for me? Well, it changes a little bit because, like many sports, there's seasons. So like maybe in the season, during the day when kids are in school and they're unable to go to a rink and train, we're doing a lot of kind of like, we call them administrative things. Like we'll send emails, or we'll get the website organized, or marketing, or get the programs designed, or we'll reach out to different coaches and make sure we have staffing and everyone knows what to do and we communicate with all those people. And then that's kind of what I actually like the least about my job. And I think everybody that, a lot of different professionals that might talk say, oh, some of the administrative things are sometimes hard. It's because they're very tedious. It takes a lot of time to organize and a lot of planning and a lot of communication. And for me, what is hands down the best part of my job is just going on the ice. I try to get on the ice as much as I can myself. And that's the highlight of my job, is being on the ice with these young athletes and helping them improve and reach their goals. And every now and again, when we get feedback from families and parents and players, and you can see the progress they made, it's like the ultimate home run for any coach in any sport. And it's why any coach does what they do, is to help their athletes. You know, if I can talk a little bit about our work environment, what's really cool is I'm kind of my own boss. And I like to do it that way because I love to control our environment. I love my environment to be really, really positive with our coaches. I love to communicate with all of our coaches and our families. I love everyone to know exactly what's going on, so we're on the same page, so there's no questions or mishaps on anything. And like I said, positivity is probably the number one thing that I like to control in our environment. I love everyone to be having fun. Of course, I want everyone to be working really hard, but it's got to be fun. And especially if you're involved in a sport is an opportunity. It's an activity that you're choosing to do. So if it's not fun, well, you know, I always kind of have the idea and the mindset that life's really short and you better do something you want to do. So it's got to be fun for my coaches, for our players, for our families, and that's a really, really key component. Let me see, what else? Something else. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I do in a nutshell. Like I said, for any of our athletes there that think one day they might want to coach, some advice that I have for you is you got to learn as much as you can about the sport. You don't have to have necessarily been a professional at any level, but you have to love the game. You have to study the game. And this is anything: soccer, football, baseball, golf, lacrosse, anything. And you got to really try your hardest to understand how to communicate with different athletes, because not every athlete is the same, just like everyone's unique, and having different communication styles, I think, is very, very important. Just like maybe your teachers can have different communication styles, the same goes for coaches. And I like to look at it like the more tools that I have in my toolbox to communicate with my players, the better off we all are for it, and the more that they can learn and the more I can help them. For any advice, as far as people and some of our young students out there, you're thinking maybe what to do when you get older. First and foremost, keep your options open, because you never really know. So you always want to look at different options, and maybe when you get older, you get different jobs and different things in different, different communities and networks you can get involved with in different industries. But the biggest advice that I have is you have to follow your passion, because, you know, work can be really hard and work can, it can be challenging sometimes. But if you do what you love every day, it's not challenging, and it's really not that hard. And like I said, I'm very lucky that I get to work for myself and I get to do what I love. So even my days that sometimes might feel really hard and really long, I take a step back and I realize I have a lot to be grateful for, because they're really not that bad. And it's because I took my passion and I just turned it into an everyday job now. So follow your passions, do what makes you happy. And if you're not sure, well then, do some investigating and ask yourself some questions about what you like, what you don't like, what you're comfortable doing, where you want to live. All these different things, I think, help you get to your right answer. But anyways, guys, I hope everyone's staying positive and healthy during this time off. I know it's a different era right now with all these video calls and everything, but you know what? We can still make the choice to stay positive, and it's a mindset of how we want to approach things. So I hope you're all staying socially active just from a distance right now. Enjoy the career day. I hope you get to meet some awesome professionals and different jobs and learn a lot about these different things. Anyways, guys, I hope everyone has a great summer coming up here. Take care, stay safe and healthy, everybody. Thanks for having me out again.